Today, I am going to show you guys my super cool nutrition hack. So this is something that I grew up doing with my mom, and it's kind of like our take on a lighter, less heavy, garlicky garlic bread. And so it's really, really easy, and it really requires very, very little prep, and it's really, really simple to put together. So here we go. I use garlic powder. You can also use garlic salt. I like parsley. You can also use any kind of Italian blend spice mix. And then whatever kind of butter or margarine or light butter you like using. My very favorite is this Land O'Lakes light butter. They replace some of the normal saturated fat with canola oil, which is high in healthy oils that I want to have in my diet. And you still get the same look and feel and a lot of the same taste as normal butter, and so that's what we like using. So you're just gonna first spoon some of the butter or margarine or whatever you're using into a little bowl like this, and it really depends on how much of the bread you're gonna be eating. So I'm gonna actually cook it all tonight for me and my family, but if you're in a home where you're not gonna eat all this in one sitting, you can easily cut it in half and just do a little bit. So it really is just kind of a trial and error for how much butter you need and how much you're gonna put on the bread. But I will say this, compared to the garlic bread, French bread that's pre-made in the store, this is gonna have significantly less salt and saturated fat. And so it can be a good way to cut down on some of that if you like having garlic bread with any of your meals at home. Back to this, so I put just a few spoonfuls of my light butter in this bowl, which I will end up microwaving. And then I'm just gonna pour just a tiny bit of garlic powder, less than 1/8 of a teaspoon. So just a tiny sprinkle on there. And then I just add some parsley. And I just like the parsley because it gives it some color on the bread, so it's not just like yellow buttered bread. And the garlic powder helps you still get that garlicky taste, but it's not as strong. So I don't know if you're like this, but sometimes when I eat anything with garlic in it that's really heavy, it's like that taste is in my mouth and it just won't go away. And so I prefer my breads or anything with garlic to be a little bit more mild, and this is the case with this. So really, depending on you and your family's taste at home, you can add more garlic powder or garlic salt if you want. You could also just throw in fresh garlic if you want to try that as well. It's really just up to you and your taste preferences. Okay, so you're just gonna throw that in the microwave for like 10 to 15 seconds or until it's melted all the way through. But you just wanna be careful because if you do it too long in the microwave, it pops all over and it makes a mess. So just watch that, and then we're gonna use a handy dandy pastry brush to just kind of stir it around. And then that's all ready to go. If you don't have a pastry brush, that's just fine. You can use a spoon or a knife to spread the butter a little bit. So I'm just gonna take my French bread, which my store that day only had white French bread, but if there's ever a whole wheat option, I would probably personally go with that just because it's an easy way to get whole grains, and I'm adding some of the fat and salt to the bread, which makes it have more flavor. So it might be more appealing or taste better to some people, especially if you have picky whole grain eaters in your house. So I'm just going to slice the bread in pieces, and I try to keep them intact, and you'll find out why in just a second. And like I said, like today I'm cooking all of the bread, but in some days we're only a family of 3.